best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
There's no second best to discover crypto. I'm not wearing a tie. It is Casual Friday, and I had to get casual because we're getting so serious with some of the charts that we're about to show you. There's a line in the sand, 200-week moving average. Ivan on Tech has basically said this is God's gift for Bitcoin holders. So we're going to look at this chart. Also, Caleb Franzen has a very, very scary chart showing that we are about to enter a bear market, but there are signs of life on the horizon. We're seeing a lot of good stuff coming from the banks. We're also seeing interesting stuff from the precious metals. And I'm joined here by TJ, who just always has something interesting to say. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here and enjoying this ride. I'm liking what I'm seeing as far as risk reward opportunity, which is part of what we're going to look at with Ivan's clip. But what I've been saying before too, and I think he says it really well, that it's all about risk reward. Nothing's a guarantee. You just have to take your risk when you think the highest and best reward is available. And feels to me like this now is that season and now is that time. I know I've been saying it for a while, but again, I love Bitcoin in the 80s. There's really nothing that gets me more excited than Bitcoin in the 80s. And I'm not talking about
before we get into the charts, before we see is there 10 a.m. manipulation, and before we look at zoom in on some of the altcoins there, let's play this clip. This is from Ivan on Tech. I think this is from yesterday's stream. He's posting some of his own clips, but it's just, let me give you the heads up here. He sees this as close to free money if you understand risk reward. So let's listen to him talk about free money.
Bitcoin at 200 week, mamma mia, it's like godsend. It's like godsend. Why? Because from a risk reward perspective, you know that likely we're setting up for a multi-year run. Likely we're setting up for a multi-year bull market, and you buy there in such a nice way where risk reward. Everything is about risk reward. I mean, just everything is risk reward. Nothing is for sure. So what can we do as traders? We can maximize the risk reward. We can make it as good as possible. And 200 week is like I mean, in one way, you can think of it as free money. If you just wait a few months.
Hit the like button if you like free money, by the way.
In most cases, you're going to be very, very fine. And this is exactly why we have this simulation. 1 month return, even 1 month, like on average, 1 month return after buying a 200-week moving average is already 8%, bigger than S&P average per year, per the whole year. And here, normally you get it in a month after 200-week moving average. 6 months, already 53. 1 year.
6 months later, after we hit this level, we are up 143% on average, TJ. So very, very bullish chart. And we're going to pull up this chart in 1 second. Let me pull it up here.
While you're doing that, also hit the like button if you like Ivan on Tech. I mean, what a legend. He's been doing this for such a long time. I was just saying in the chat, one of the first crypto YouTubers I ever watched when I started my journey. He was, I want to say back in 2017, one of the few. I mean, there was Crypto Daily and there was him, one of the few that were doing actually live content every single day. He's taking some breaks here or there, but love Ivan.
For those who don't know, he takes a break every bear market. He literally goes away from the internet every bear market. That is the thing that he's kind of known for.
Yeah, I mean, he's either way. He's a legend. I think he does really, really good content. I've learned a lot from him over the years, and he's been on a similar ride too. I saw another post where he was talking about, he learned his lesson on buying real estate. Which I did too. You buy all these houses and you think like, oh, okay, this is going to work for what I want. And then you realize like, oh no, I'm stuck here and I can't move without selling everything. I'm going to get taxed in like crazy. So
he feels stuck in Sweden. He wanted to escape Sweden. If you're not aware, there's a lot of bombings in that country. It's actually underreported, but yeah, he was trying to hightail it out of that European country and felt tethered because he wasn't in Tether.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look at the 200-week moving average. So we're looking at the 50, the 100, and the 200-week moving average. These are weekly candles. This is the exponential moving average. And he's saying coming down to the 200-week is his prediction, but it's a godsend. This is a good thing. And I would say this is something we have been watching. And essentially it boils down to this. When we hit the 100, we go to the 200 after we reject. And you can see it right here in this cycle. This was the mid-cycle lull. This is going to be June and July of 2021. And then Bitcoin would go into an all-time high November of 21. Then it would lose this 50-week support, come down to the 100-week support, reject off the 50, and then actually go below the 200. You can go into the 2017 cycle. You'll see we come down, bounce a little bit above the 100-week moving average, reject off the 50, and then we go down to the 200-week moving average. You can also see what happened in March 2020, come back down to the 200-week moving average. Every time we lose the 100, we will visit the 200-week moving average, and that price essentially at the previous all-time high, right around $68,000, $70,000. So TJ, let me ask chat, let me ask you, are we about to touch the 200-week moving average in your opinion?
About to.
Let's just say within, we'll measure this move. So pull up the chart. This took about 50 days. We'll say within, wow, that's scary. Within 2 months.
Within 2 months? I would say it's not outside the realm of possibility. I still, I'm not going to change my stance on, I think, 80, in the, 78, close to the 80K mark, I think is extremely strong support at this point. So it'd be hard, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Like we just covered, it's happened several times in the past. That is, almost always marks the bottom, 69K. I know a lot of people are calling for those kind of, the ones that I can get behind a 69K. The ones that really leave me scratching my head are the 40Ks and the 50Ks and some of those kind of numbers. So now my gut says we won't this time, just because we have so much sustained buying. Like Michael Saylor and Strategy has more or less been holding up the market on their own. He even, jokingly, I don't know if it was joking or not, but kind of tongue in cheek posted the other day, like I'm thinking about buying spot, not even doing OTC. Now, if Strategy was to start buying spot, that would have an incredibly bullish impact on the market. And there's other ones like that as well. So my gut still says when the market structure bill passes, we'll get a rally from there. We've got sustained buying. As soon as the central banks are done accumulating gold, a lot of that money, or some of that money at least, I do think from metals will rotate into Bitcoin. So I don't know. I'd put it at under a 50% chance that we go to that level, in my opinion. But like he was saying, it's all about risk reward. And if you see anything, and that's why I was screaming about buying it even a year ago at 74K. 74K to me is close enough to 69K. So if I see it in the 70s, I'm already a buyer in the 80s. I'm definitely a buyer in the 70s. And they're, 65, I don't necessarily see, but 69, previous cycle all-time high, that's happened multiple times throughout history. So I would mark a bear market bottom for sure.
I don't know where this one came from, Kermit, but has everyone seen the movie Clueless? I don't know. I was like, is that related? Do we feel like the markets are clueless in a direction? Potentially there. And it's also the movie Proof that Paul Rudd is a vampire. Now, we are not seeing, this is the 5-minute candles that we're looking at today. We are not seeing anything like the 10 a.m. manipulation from yesterday. This is 10 a.m. right here. So a few minutes after, boom, very, very large move to the downside. But you will notice we haven't wicked higher than where we were previously before this dip. So in my prediction, I think we are going to get above 90,500 today. I don't know if we might swing a little bit lower beforehand, but it is looking, in my opinion, pretty positive for Bitcoin today. Now let's hit refresh. Let's check in on some of the altcoins. Let's see how the rest of the market's doing. Bitcoin, largely flat, 0.4% to the upside. ETH also looking pretty flat. XRP, very, very flat. And if you are holding XRP, something from the BNY Mellon CEO sparking excitement in the XRP's future, or is it going to be similar to yesterday's article? Solana slightly down. We have ADA flat as a pancake, Bitcoin Cash flat as a pancake, but there are some major moves. We're seeing Ondo with the nice move. Finally, the news trickling down that they're onboarding stocks onto the Solana blockchain. I think a lot of people are seeing that as a positive move there. Algorand's up, Render is up, MYX is up, Aster not looking like a disaster, at least today. Hype is up as well. And for the big losers, Canton pulling back some of the gains. It had been on fire lately. I think it might be up 50% over the last 30 days, potentially 43% now. So you subtract the 6%. Yeah, pretty much 50% up for the week. And one other big loser, we also have ICP coming in with a little bit of some headwinds here, rejecting around that $4 range. You can see right here. Boom, losing this area right here around $4. Spiked up, got people excited, and now ICP it's looking like a clown coin. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean the ICP community there, but yeah, this is, I would say, interesting weekend this weekend, TJ. We are going to talk about the winter storm shutting off Bitcoin miners, which maybe even could increase the volatility slightly there. But there's one more chart I wanted to share. This is from Caleb Franzen. It's one of my favorite analysts out there. He has a newsletter. It's pretty good. I recommend checking it out. I'm here once again to show you the most important Bitcoin chart right now. Lock in, embrace nuance, and good luck. And it is this chart right here. These are 200 moving averages on a 2-day. He's using the 1-day. So he's using 400-day moving average. He's using an EMA and an SMA, exponential moving average and a simple moving average. And I'll just kind of show it one more time here. You can see bounce, bounce, we're right below. Bounce, bounce, we're right below. So these are the charts he's looking at. TJ, when I show you the previous bull runs, you might get a little bearish. Look at that. Now, because I might have to change my chart here, but you can see it right there. When we lose this, it does create a bear market. And I'm about to show this on probably the spot crypto. We get a little bit longer tail here. Yeah, that, boom, rejected. We got a bear market. You go to 2017. We hit it. Once we go below it, that is a bear market. And one more, you can see it's holding strong. It's holding strong. We go in the range, but we don't go below it. But the second we go below it, that was the bear market. So this is not a good sign. We need to flip this into support a lot sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it is a hard level to clear, and the more time, the longer we stay beneath it, the longer, the harder it is. Now, generally, that's about a year. So, I mean, I think the 4-year cycle theory, I know DCA and Prey has been on this train for a while, and a few others in our chat that, this year is going to be a bearish year. And so if you stick to that theory, then more or less the rest of, what were we in January? You'd say like we stay bearish until, say, October. That would probably fit with, that's really rough timeline, but roughly we would stay suppressed until those levels. And, that would be something, we touch 69K somewhere in that time period, maybe, 2-3 months out, and then blast back off to the, 200, 300K Bitcoin in 27 and 28. Now, obviously a lot of people don't want to hear that. I still don't believe that's going to happen. I still think once most of these tariffs get settled, once the Clarity Act gets done, all these, all the geopolitical jockeying that's happening, which I feel like is, I don't know about coming to an end, but it seems to have found its rhythm, so to speak, and it is subsiding in a lot of different ways. I still believe, the big, beautiful bill, we're seeing the Treasury buying stuff now. We're seeing quantitative easing come back. We'll have to keep an eye on the Fed's balance sheet. And in a lot of ways, if you just watch that one chart, that tells the story most of the time. When the Fed is growing its balance sheet, it's up and to the right across the board. When the Fed is shrinking its balance sheet, things are getting tight everywhere. So again, most of what I look at is the liquidity cycle, and it's a lot of that's shown very similar to 2019. I'm still in the camp that when they're printing and adding more money and easing this economy, that will reflect into assets. Right now, clearly across the board, it's the commodities market: gold, silver, Bitcoin, palladium, copper. I mean, it's almost like you pick the metal, it's going up. Now, that means, and that's largely coming from central banks, by the way. That is not retail buying it. That's not some hedge fund moving the needle. It's people buying gold as their reserve instead of dollars as their reserve on a nation state central bank level. And that's what's sending those prices up. I do believe once they get gold at the levels they feel like are appropriate, you'll start to see it rotate into other stuff. I mean, Ray Dalio in Davos, I mean, he's one of my favorite economists, hedge fund managers, whatever.
He's one of my favorite macro voices out there.
Exactly. Macro voice. That's a good way to say it. And he's been covering a lot of this stuff for an extremely long time. And he more or less said gold, Bitcoin, and tech is where you want to be. You want to have a certain percentage of gold. I don't know if that's 10%. I don't know if that's 15%. I love gold. Yeah, that's Gold Member. And we should all go home and watch Gold Member this weekend while we're snowed in.
Is that the one with Beyonce?
Yeah, I think that is the one with Beyonce.
Okay,
yeah.
Foxy Cleopatra or something. I remember she was fierce, real fierce in that movie. Let
me just finish. So anyway, Ray Dalio, he's out there pushing gold, Bitcoin and tech, and Bitcoin kind of sits on the intersection of tech and store value, sovereign wealth. And so I really do believe we're going to see an incredible multi-year bull run come. It's just it's a matter of a matter of when, not if. So is that going to happen in 2 months? Is that going to happen in 8 months? I don't really know, but I know I'm going to be ready when it does happen.
Everybody hit the like button because I'm going to be your hopium dealer. It's time for a little bit of hopium for this chart. If I were to say, is there a possibility for us to get above these two lines? I'm seeing something that isn't quite terrible. So let's start from today. So this is a 200 candle moving average, essentially here. So we're going to go back 200. And if you look right here, 182, 197, 200 bars. We're over the next, I would say 40 days, over the next 40 days, we're going to remove all of this from our average. And then what's going to be in the average is this is going to be all of what we see for the beginning of the average. So when we wipe this out, this will drop the average drastically. And so maybe there's a chance where Bitcoin can remain relatively flat. But because we have some lower areas here, we have some lower areas here, these two lines will push down, even if Bitcoin is flat. So Bitcoin can stay flat. This is what the lines are going to be doing over the long term. So maybe there's a world, this is how we get above these two lines, not so much Bitcoin skyrocketing in price, because we have seen it pretty flat lately. So just want to give you a little hopium there, folks.
Yeah, we do need a little bit of both. A Bitcoin above 100K, solves a lot of that stuff. But 105 is a key level a lot of people like, I know. And we could, like you said, enough time goes by and Bitcoin sustains or rallies slightly, gets above 95 or 94, gets above 105, then I think the chart people, the TA believers will be in a better mood, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, 100%. Now I got some major news from the Nasdaq that we're going to share in 1 second, but there is storm news that I want to share. So before we talk about this new Nasdaq rule for ETF options, that's very major. This is actually has a Bitcoin impact because of Bitcoin miners. So the miners are bracing for the major ice storm across the southern U.S. and across some of the middle of the U.S. So a winter storm threatening to pelt most of the U.S. with ice and heavy snow this weekend, and could see Bitcoin miners curtail their operations until the front is passed. A lot of this swath covers Bitcoin mining operations. There's going to be a massive winter storm for 1,800 miles. Take that, Europeans. That's your entire continent from far west Texas to the mid-Atlantic coast. It's a dozen states and 60 million people. Chat, let us know. I'm interested. Who's this affecting? Who's this not affecting? Type in yes. If you were in the path, type in no. If you're like, haha, I'm in California, I don't have to worry about weather.
We don't have water here in California.
Yeah, we can't put out a fire, but you know what? We don't have to worry about rain either. So I am wondering, who is this storm going to be affecting? But real quickly, then I'll do that super chat. When large storms cause havoc to power grids, Bitcoin miners power down their mining rigs to ease the load on the grid. We saw it in 22 with the major storm hit in Texas. Crypto miners across the state voluntarily curtailed their activities. There's a lot of mining in Texas. There's a lot of mining in Georgia. The U.S. is home to a large chunk of the mining power. Bitcoin mining data, presumably guessing 38% of the global bandwidth here. And if you look, number 1, U.S., number 2, Russia, China, Paraguay, UAE, Oman, Canada, Kazakhstan. They have the best potassium, Ethiopia, and Indonesia coming in. So I'm curious, are people going to be affected? Mostly yeses, it looks like here, TJ. A whole lot of people going to be messed up by the storm, it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of people in Tennessee, I know, are preparing for it. I heard today it's not supposed to be as dramatic here as they told us it was. I'm an optimist on that kind of stuff too. I feel like, the weather and news outlets are clickbaiting just like the rest of us. And
did you hear the theory? It's big grocery.
Oh, it's big grocery. Okay, that makes sense. They're trying to sell some food or bread and eggs or something. Yeah, or I thought it'd be it's Home Depot trying to sell those generators. Man, everybody, I you know how many times I've been asked, like, do you have a generator? Do you need to get a generator? And yeah, I guess it's good to have a generator. It's good to be prepared. But then I was like, okay, so what? You're getting the generator in case your power goes out, so you plug your fridge into it when it's freezing cold. Why don't you just stick it in a cooler on your back porch? Like, it's not the middle of the summer. Like, if your power goes out in the middle of summer, yeah, it's convenient to plug your fridge back in. When it's because of an ice storm, Just put it in the backyard.
Yeah, that does make sense. You're not really going to be doing your central heating unit on this generator.
Well, you don't need your fridge either. That's my point. A lot of people are talking about keeping your food in your fridge, and it's like you put it outside. I don't get it. But anyway, it's good to have. I'm not saying don't have a generator, don't be prepared, but I guess I'm a weather optimist just like I am a crypto optimist. So
there you go. All right. Now we do have a super chat. Smash the likes, Disco fam. Do you have plans to attend Bitcoin Las Vegas, Token 2049, Dubai, and Singapore?
We definitely have plans for the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. I was actually working on some of that stuff. You were too, Jeezy, earlier this week.
Working on it yesterday.
Organizing travel and all that sort of stuff. So yes, we'll absolutely be there. You don't move the fridge; you just put it in a cooler. But anyway, Token 2049 in Dubai. I'm not sure. Like we'll think about it. Singapore is a long way. They're both cool places, but we'll see. I've got a little one, so sometimes that's a little bit harder to do. But we'll think about it. We might. Are you going, Crank? Let me know if you're going to be there.
I just think people. I think it's a troll. I don't think Snowcone thinks this, but power went out. Let me move my entire fridge through my little kitchen door, out my front door, and then I just open my doors with it on my porch.
But it's true. I haven't moved a full fridge. That would be retarded. You take the food out before you move the fridge. Come on.
All right. Now, let's see here. All right. So a lot of people going to be cold. It looks like stay warm out there and go ahead, get some items today, folks. Just don't be trapped. We don't want to see the Disco fan be stuck outside with their bell bottoms. Now let's talk about ETF flows here. Bitcoin ETF weekly outflows, largest since September, but this is potentially signaling a Bitcoin price bottom. Where are they getting this data from? Where are they getting this prediction from? Well, they're getting it from history, what we've seen in the past. So the ETFs have their largest outflow since November. It's a possible sign we're about to rebound. Why? Because outflows often coincide with local bottoms in Bitcoin's price. In November, we saw this 2025. We had a 4-day withdrawal of 1.22 billion. We also saw this in March 2025. This is after the tariff turmoil. And we also saw this in August 24 when Bitcoin bottomed near 49,000 as the end carry trade unwound. So during ETF antics, if you will, oftentimes Bitcoin puts in a bottom. I can go to the weekly chart here. You can just kind of see some of this in the short term. So we have the March 2025 tantrum right there. We have the little July bottom right there. And then what was the other one they were saying? November outflows. The local bottom right there. So basically ETF outflows have signaled local bottoms this entire, I would say at least since the ETFs have been out. So it's only going on about 2 years. Negative 24. Stop being babies, you stupid Bitcoin miners.
Yeah. That is cold. Negative 20. I saw one of those clips of somebody, where you take the boiling water out and you throw it up in the air and it freezes instantly before it even hits the ground. Hey, good luck. I mean, if you're living in Minnesota, good luck out there. Stay safe.
You seen the one where they take the boiling water and then it falls back on them and they scream?
No.
Oh, it's a good one. Probably won't share it here. Probably don't need to show it here. I think YouTube might get a little upset at that clip. Is it terrible, or is it like, play stupid games? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence for both those.
If the tiny hats already have a bunch of Bitcoin, will it ever be the people's currency? You can go look at the numbers there. The people hold more than 70. I think I want to say like 74% of the Bitcoin. So it is not consolidated. It is definitely in the hands of retail, even with how much strategy and some of these other people are accumulating right now. So there you go. There's that answer.
Negative 16. God dang, some of you people, y'all in some cold areas there. He doesn't even have good water or good air outside. All right, I shouldn't make fun of Michigan there. All right, Nasdaq, though, this is the major news I wanted to share. We are about to go full. If you ever seen This is Spinal Tap, we're about to crank it to 11. Okay, we're going past 10. We're going to break the knob. ETFs are about to be supercharged when it comes to Bitcoin and Ether here. Now, Nasdaq has filed a rule change with the SEC to remove limits on options tied to Bitcoin and ETH. I'm going to do a members only stream. I'm going to walk you through buying some copper options. We're going to do this right after the stream today. Now, so the SEC changed this rule, and it's going to align crypto ETFs with rules applied to other commodity-based funds. So now Bitcoin has the same rules as cocoa futures, coffee futures, oil futures. It lifts the existing 25,000 contract limit on options linked to a range of Bitcoin and ETH ETFs. Options are financial contracts that give traders the right, but not obligation, to buy or sell an underlying asset at a set price before a certain date. So say Bitcoin's IBIT ETFs trading at $100. You'll say, I think it will be $80 in 2 months, and I will put this option to buy it at 80. If it goes up, you're going to lose your money. If it goes down to 80, you're going to be in money. Now, exchanges and regulators typically impose limits on options tradings to reduce the risk of excessive speculation, market manipulation, and concentrated positions that could amplify volatility or threaten market stability. And now these rules, because of this guy, is going to be taken off. This is head of digital assets at Nasdaq. This guy's very, very pro crypto. So I don't know if he's pro crypto. He's pro Nasdaq making money, and they're going to make money with extra leverage.
Yeah. No, and I agree with this comment here from Sivo. So much bullish moves and news in crypto over the last year or so. It makes no sense that this is local bear market will continue much longer. I agree. I still believe what we're witnessing is a lot of positioning. We've even got this, one of the most powerful banks in the world, JP Morgan, world's largest bank, is now live on Ethereum.
I'm probably going to do a video on this for Saturday morning, TJ.
Yeah, this happened just late yesterday. I saw this come out. 2 in the afternoon yesterday. So, I mean, this is big. JP Morgan. I'm actually, I've been doing a lot of history lately, like money history, markets history. I'm listening to a book called 1929 by Andrew Ross Sorkin right now. JP Morgan has been the most powerful influence in the world of finance for a long time. Obviously, they have their hands deep into the Federal Reserve. They don't like to talk about that, but they do.
The hands are deep in the Federal Reserve.
Deep. Yeah,
elbow deep.
Talking it like a puppet. That was a puppet, right? Yeah.
No, it's going in the hands of the pocket. See, the pants are hanging from a clothesline upside down. So
yeah,
they're just hands in the pockets, folks.
Either way, yeah, to your point, some of the most powerful, biggest institutions ever are moving towards crypto, and they're doing it extremely fast. All of this stuff, like I said earlier in the show, this is not a matter, in my opinion, this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I've been in crypto a very, very long time. I've been bullish at different points, but I've really never been more fundamentally macro bullish than I am right now. And, still good to have cash on the sidelines, still good to have revenue generating assets that you can use to continue to buy the dip when things are down like right now. But, I'm very, very, very much exposed to Bitcoin, and I think I'm going to be very happy about that. In the
you see, the latest macro news, the latest crazy bullish macro news is going to be this story right here. It is now added to Kansas's state-managed Bitcoin assets digital reserve. Now, this is going to be pretty cool because they're kind of doing the same thing as the U.S. government. They're not going to go out and buy Bitcoin. I think that's maybe expecting a little bit too much. But what they are going to do, the fund's going to consist of airdrops, staking rewards, and interest earned on abandoned digital assets held under their unclaimed property law. So if you're maybe, some ancient Mount Gox acid dealer, and they're sitting on a, old unclaimed property, this is what's going to be seized, folks. So this is it will add up, I think, over time.
California passed a similar law where it's basically if it's dormant crypto, they can seize it. I'm not a fan of government seizing any type of.
I don't like property seizure laws either.
Yeah, that shouldn't be that way. I understand why they do it. It's good for the government, but remember, this is just a good time to remind yourself. You've heard me say it before. You'll hear me say it again. The government is not your friend. Say that over and over.
What would be a good timeline for unclaimed for you? So, I think if a car is unclaimed for 10 years. Yeah, give it to the government. I don't think they're going to claim it. 5 years? Yeah, probably 5 months. I'd say no.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like, car is different than Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's not like a car is getting worse. It's imposing on somebody. It's parked somewhere, whatever. But Bitcoin is getting more valuable over time. So imagine being somebody's heir. Oh yeah, my grandpa had all this stuff. He passed away. We're trying to manage his estate. We got all caught up in the funeral and everything that's going on. Years went by. I found some journal where this was written down. And, 8 years later, I realized, oh, grandpa had 100 Bitcoin. Oh, now the state of California has it because I didn't know that until now. Like, I don't think that's right.
TJ went for a high-speed rail, okay?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's using to fight the homeless problem, even though they're all over the place.
Well, you got to buy them needles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just ask Gavin. No, we should have played. Did you see the clip of Scott Bessent just bodying Gavin Newsom in Davos? Did you see that?
I did. I didn't pull it up. I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what he said exactly.
I mean, he more or less just said like he has no business being here. He's here with his sugar daddy his billionaire sugar daddy Alex Soros. He can't do anything well. You know, this is the guy that arrested people for going to church while he was having $1,000 parties at the French Laundry during the pandemic. Like he was asked to speak about economic policies, but he couldn't speak because all of his policies had failed. He had nothing to say. Like he did not hold back on Gavin Newsom, which, you know, I'm all for that. I'm not a big Newsom fan. I used to live in California, guys, by the way.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Alex Soros, of course, the son of George Soros, and he is married to Huma Abedin. She was actually Hillary Clinton's chief of staff. So very, very interesting saga when you look at Alex Soros's previous friendships. We'll say,
or just, I mean, his dad, George Soros, obviously was the purveyor of a lot of that stuff. And people like to point out, I mean, Scott Bessent used to work for George Soros and made a lot of money for George Soros and himself in a turning of, you know, a changing of the powers from the British pound over towards the US dollar. So he knows a lot about changing world orders.
People got some interesting theories on Hillary. Did she do it or not? I remember the first time I was asked that question, I was like, that sounds crazy. But now I'm, yes, of course you did. Anthony Moose, thank you for becoming a member. Of course, the Clintons did. Anyways, let's talk about Robert Kiyosaki. Speaking of famous people from the 90s, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author, not worried about Bitcoin's price. Here's why. I just want to share the sentiment because I think the sentiment is worth $1 million. Now, the guys, obviously, we might scoff at him. You know, he top blasts Bitcoin. He top blasts precious metals. He's telling you to, you know, sell everything and buy silver at $90 an ounce. You know, maybe we joke about this guy, but I would just say he has a lot of authority in financial circles. A lot of people who maybe, you know, watch MSNBC or watch Fox News, a lot of the older cohorts, they're going to love Robert Kiyosaki. When this guy talks, they're definitely going to listen. The type of people that read Motley Fool and like think they're, you know, getting the good alpha, these people love this dude. Here's what he's saying about Bitcoin and ETH. The reason he doesn't care, remember, he doesn't care about Bitcoin's price. The reason he doesn't care about Bitcoin and ETH's price is the fact that he knows the national debt of the U.S. is going to keep going up. And besides, the purchasing power of the US dollar is going to keep going down. Knowing this major factor, it makes him free from worrying about the price of gold, silver, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. And so we can look at a lot of scary charts. We can look at these things saying, okay, we're going to 69K. But at the end of the day, it's better than holding a dollar. And I just think it's a good sentiment. And then we'll probably talk a little precious metals here.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not, I mean, people talk about, especially wealthy people like to talk about, oh, when you take your chips off the table. And this is, Michael Saylor said a lot of really good things, but this is one of my favorite things he said is there's no such thing as taking your chips off the table. Anything you put, wherever you put your money is on the board. You can't take it off the board, whether you're in bonds, whether you're in cash. You're choosing, if you're not choosing to buy gold or equities or Bitcoin, you're choosing to buy money markets or dollars or bonds or whatever it is. So there's nothing off the table. So you need to always be looking at it that way. And yeah, I feel much more comfortable in Bitcoin than I do in almost any other asset. Again, revenue generating stuff, that's great. Cash flow is king. You know, that full sentence, I think I said it earlier this week. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is king. That's, people don't like to say the first part, but that's what it's all about. Cash, you want cash coming in, so it gives you options. Optionality is the key in all markets. If you have the option to exercise, that's what's, you know, where you want to be as a position of power. So make sure you have options, but in my opinion, Bitcoin gives you the most options. It's liquid. It's 24/7. You can move. You can borrow against it. You can borrow against Bitcoin at 4% on Aave. That's pretty good in this market right now. It's actually very good in this market right now. And people don't understand the financial options you have when you have true value and you're not leveraged to the hilt. People like to act like these banks are safe. They are leveraged and margined, and you know, every nation out there has tons of debt. For every $1 of actual value, they have $10 of debt. The banks run the very same way. And then you've got the Bitcoin community that's like, oh no, yeah, we're backed 1-to-1. Oh, actually, no, we're over collateralized. We have more value than that much in what we're lending on. And they like to act like, oh, well, I don't know. You guys are risky. You're unproven. And it's like, all right, sure. we've only been around 10 to 15 years, but what we've proven is we're a lot better at economics than you guys are. So
yeah, and what the dollar has proven is the dollar is what's risky in the long run.
Exactly.
This is a good question. I see you asking it a couple times. Speak to Strength asking, are we rallying this weekend, next week? Honest opinion, please. So it is so difficult to predict this when Trump has something going on. And Davos was this week something going on. The Greenland situation. We could talk about, the Council of Peace or, whatever that specific name is there. So that is, I would say, that's what makes it difficult. Honestly, that is what makes it difficult. We can have all the indicators and everything heading in the right direction. And then Trump can kind of maybe do something that will just totally reverse that narrative, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. He can kind of just basically pull a 180 on the markets. That being said, bullish or bearish heading into the next 7 days, we'll say, I am feeling bullish because we keep showing you these like quote unquote bear market charts. Every single time we see them, there are, little pumps where you try to get back above these other moving averages. We haven't even done that yet. So I still think that's going to be coming. So I'm leaning bullish.
Yeah,
TJ.
let us know, put it in the chat what you think in the next week or two, bearish or bullish. If you're following the Kobayashi playbook that we've been covering a lot on this channel that takes into account Trump's tariff, we are getting into the part of the cycle where they come out with positive news, deals being made.
And pump on Monday is basically the next thing he's predicted. They're all going to go on TV this weekend, champion the deal, and then everything pumps on Monday.
Right, and that could be a relief rally. So when you say rally, that's always such a tough question. Are you talking, we're at 89-ish. Is 92 a rally? Is 93 a rally? Do you think we'll see that? Yes, I would say if you want to play the really short term, join the link in our description to get into our Discord. We do have a professional quant that we pay to provide you guys with calls. He'll go long, he'll go short on the short term stuff. People have been doing really well with that sort of stuff. And for me, if you're day trading, that's what I pay attention to. I decided a while back, forget trying to overanalyze the charts myself. I'm just going to hire a quant to obsess over it all day, every day, and take his trades. And that's been working pretty well for us. We're this close. I really want to test it to make sure there's no bugs in it before I roll this out, but we're this close to rolling out the copy trading. So potentially could be rolling that out next week if you guys, because a lot of these trades come in at, between midnight and 6 a.m. because they're on overnight times, whether it's Asia or London and U.S. Open. So some of them come in early morning U.S. Open, but a lot of them are early a.m. So Eastern time. So we do have it automated. We have been testing the automation, but anytime you're using automation, you want to be extremely sure that there's no bugs in it. So we've been running that. It's been performing well. Yeah,
we got some new trades this morning, by the way. Breaking 9:30. I haven't even seen these yet. It does look like, all right, so this is from this morning, 9:30. We did hit a take profit on the virtual.
Yeah, we shorted
trade.
Virtuals yesterday. Yeah.
OP closed after take profit 2. Look here. And then opening a new trade at 10:09 is going to be an injective short. It gives you the targets for take profit, gives you the stop loss. And at the same time, looks like later on, and then it did hit take profit 1 there. So it's going to be a little bit higher.
How many minutes is that? 3 minutes? I can't see. Right at the bottom. Yeah, 3 minutes on that. He opened the short, and then within 3 minutes, it hit TP1. So a lot of these are quick momentum-based trades. He's looking at overall structure, and it's basically an algorithmic momentum-based strategy working very well. So yeah, you get in there if you're looking for the short-term moves. Long-term or medium-term, like I said, I think we'll see some type of relief next week, but that doesn't mean, we can't go. I mean, probably wants to hit 85 soon, I would say.
And if you are 87. For long-term trades, I mean, heck, I might as well just show it here just because we love the guy so much. It's going to be John Dalton. John Dalton looks like he's definitely your more of your macro trade, longer-term trade guy.
He's been crushing it all year. I mean, he was early on the metals. He was early on a lot of different things. So
now we do got a super chat here. Coinbase buying Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, Chainlink. What is the best day of the week? I can't say for sure with any certainty, but there is one for stocks. For stocks, Tuesday, because of Monday and Friday, it is Tuesday. This is kind of a famous thing. A lot of people have looked at this and they back tested this probably a century, folks. So I'm not going to say it's going to work for sure, but Mondays and Fridays, probably the ones to avoid. And a lot of people I know, they like Sunday evening. You kind of catch some of the Asia dumping.
Yeah, or pump. You get it before Asia open on Sunday night, basically. But Tuesday's a good time to buy flights. Tuesday's a good time. You're kind of, like he said, letting the volatility from Monday, Friday, futures, all that sort of stuff settle out. So if we're going to have a down week, usually that by Tuesday. If we're going to have an up week, we usually know that by Tuesday. So, at least real roughly.
Oh man, someone in the Discord, they're sharing it, getting close to take profit too. So close, folks, so close. All right, now let's get back to the metals here. I love this. Now, TJ, I'm gonna hit you with the Pam Beasley. What's the difference in the two pictures?
Well, one's 2021 and one's 2026. One, and then all the numbers get bigger, especially precious metals.
Not crypto though. Crypto's the same.
Crypto's the same.
Crypto's the same. And then it kind of speaks to this point right here. This opportunity will not last forever. And just superimposing the gold chart with the Bitcoin chart. Of course, they did decouple, but a lot of people are expecting this gap to narrow, whether it's Bitcoin going up, gold going down, or maybe a combination of both. Gold nearing 5,000, silver closing in on $100, while Bitcoin remains listless. Looks like gold traded at $49.50. Silver just hitting around 99. Cap monthly gains of a 7% for gold and a 30% pump for the month for silver there. There's Charles Hoskinson. He's angry at the Clarity Act. Now, this chart is saying the bull run's almost here. Copper to gold just hit the same exact levels that marked every Bitcoin bottom since 2010. 2011, 2015, 2020. Every time it bottomed, Bitcoin then starts its bull run. Correlation isn't perfect. The timing is perfect, or correlation is perfect. Timing is perfect. And this won't happen again for a long time. The next 12 months could create new millionaires. Don't miss this opportunity again. And I clicked on a copper post once. And so now my feed's hitting me with a lot of copper, but I did want to share this one. Robert Friedland, I think it's a 53-minute talk. I'm probably going to listen to this this weekend here. We're consuming 30 tons of copper every year. We recycle 4. So that means we're consuming 26 tons every single year to maintain 3% GDP. That's going to be, every country lifting their economic status by 3% globally. With no further electrification, we have to mine the same amount of copper in the next 18 years as we mined in the last 10,000 years combined. So to keep our trajectory in 18 years, we must mine what we mined in 10,000. Now, I double checked this. I did see some estimates have it closer to 20. Still, I think it's, pretty important here that copper is going to be facing a potential shortage. Critical minerals have a massive deficit. Copper, 33%, lithium, 38%, nickel, 15%, and cobalt, 14%. Deficits aren't theoretical. They're a result of underinvestment, I would say overregulation, long lead times, and rising demand. The bull market is just getting started. And I will do a copper options walkthrough after the stream for the members, folks. So if you're interested in joining us on the options journey, I'm just going to pull it up, show my portfolio. And I'm gonna buy one and just kind of show you how to do it, folks, in case you were wondering, because I do think copper, we've talked about that copper gold ratio. A lot of people tie it to the business cycle. It does look like it's going to reverse. Now we're looking at like multi-year and monthly candles, weekly candles. So maybe it's this month, maybe it's 2 months from now, but eventually the dam will burst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you look at those Bitcoin price versus business cycle type charts with them overlaid. Obviously in the past, the Bitcoin cycle, the 4-year cycle has aligned with the business cycle. This time it hasn't. And we are extended. It's down. It's ready for a massive rally. But there's also a lot of macro activity going on right now, which, again, you talk coming back to Ray Dalio, the changing world order, all that sort of stuff. He's been on that train for a while, saying that the U.S. was getting weaker while other powers were getting stronger. That may have changed here recently in the last, maybe 6 to 12 months. Maybe, arguably you may or may not agree with that, but I do think the U.S. is in a pretty strong position right now, especially if they can wrap up that Greenland deal. That's something that they've been, the U.S. has been working on and working towards for almost 100 years at this point. So,
way to drop the ball, Truman. Jeez, Harry.
Yeah,
come on, man. All right. And hey, thank you, Alexandra G, with the gifting 5 Discovery Crypto memberships. Yeah, we're going to be going in live basically immediately after. Just give me like a second to set up the YouTube. Now, a lot of people are saying, Donald Trump, you were supposed to be the crypto president, but I guess you're just the shiny metal president. TJ, he did have a gold toilet. I think that might have been a sign. I literally just came up with this thought. The guy had a golden toilet. What?
Yeah.
Why were we thinking he was going to pump our Chainlink?
Yeah, he had a gold room, gold building, gold.
Ah.
No, but I don't think there's anybody. Trump is one of the main purveyors of gold. I would say nobody loves gold as much as Trump. Maybe gold member, but
Can I just say it's obvious in retrospect?
yeah. Well, I mean, you also had this though, orange man, orange coin. You know that's
Yeah, it's competing narratives. You're right.
Yeah.
It was a dueling narrative there.
So maybe it was gold
so,
first. You know, Bitcoin second. You know, we'll see.
If you look, since he took office, down 13% for Bitcoin, down 5.8% for ETH. Solana, the chain he chose to launch him and his wife's meme coin on, some say this is why it's down. It's down 50%, and even Chainlink down 48% there.
Yeah, that was the absolute peak for Solana and meme coins was the day Trump launched. It's been down only since then.
Yeah, and I tried to sell. I tried to stable out of a decent amount of Solana. It failed, and I never did pull that trigger. Let's throw banks under the bus for a second here. Bank lobby.
Yeah. Hit the like button and say F's in the chat if you hate banks. I hate
in
banks.
the chat. This is going to piss you off, especially if you're broke in your early 20s like me. US Bank Lobby says stopping stablecoin yields is their top priority. It's the number one thing they got to do is stop you from getting interest on your savings. Thanks, American Bankers Association. You maybe heard of these people. Remember the overdraft fee war, TJ? Remember when everybody was talking about overdrafts and it was, legislation? Well, American Bankers Association sued to stop the Consumer Protection Bureau's overdraft final rule. So they tried to prevent the overdraft fees. American Bankers Association sued to keep overdraft fees. They say, let's pay both sides of the coin here. Well, according to them, surveys show consistently that Americans understand and appreciate overdrafts. They understand and appreciate the overdraft fees there. Now, they want to stop payment stablecoins from becoming deposit substitutes by prohibiting paying interest, yield, or even rewards, regardless of the platform. The bank lobby argues it will weaken lending and erode banks' role in the financial system. This is the entire point. We're trying to erode your place in this system because you've been putting stopgaps in the system. You've been preventing people in the system. You're debanking people within this system. Ask the president. Ask a Canadian trucker. Ask, the American First guy. There's a lot of people getting debanked out there, and now they're making it obvious. They're making it obvious they're not fighting for you. They're fighting for themselves. They're fighting for their profit margins at the expense of harming consumers. So I just wanted to throw them under the bus for a quick second there. Looks like a lot of F's in the chat here.
Yeah, ask the crypto industry. They've debanked the entire crypto industry. They're doing everything in their power to maintain control. A lot of people talking about, their whole scam of basically, an easy way to think about it is what is a bank product or what do they do? They sell money. That's basically what they do. If you want to think about it in simple terms, it's like a grocery store for money. You go in and they'll sell you money, and they're ripping you off. They'll take your money and they'll go sell it to somebody else. They want you to give them your money so they can go sell it to somebody else, and they're going to sell it to them at a very high rate. They're going to take it from you for free, basically, and they're not going to give you anything back. Now, within crypto, with things like neobanks and Coinbase and all these other things, you can actually earn a yield on state. They're passing the interest on to their users. Sure, Tether and Circle and all these people, they're required to buy treasuries that are paying them 4 or 5%. They're like, you know what? We're going to turn around and give that to our customers and make a good actual transaction between us and our customers, where banks are like, yeah, we'll take your money. We'll go get 5% on it and we'll give you nothing. We'll actually make it very difficult for you to get your money back if you ever ask for it, because they don't freaking have it. If you've ever put a lot of money in the bank, you think you can just walk in there and get it? You can't. And they'll tell you real quick, oh, that's our money. That's not your money. We actually have a contract that says we'll give it back to you at this rate unless we change our minds. And like it's a real eye-opening thing. Try it. If you've got a lot of money in the bank, try to go take 20 grand out, 50 grand.
I was reading,
this
is anecdotal, but they basically had a crypto transaction. The bank was flagging, calling them. What are you using the money for? They said after the 7th time, they said, just mind your business. It's my money. They froze the account the following day. The guy went there, demanded his money. After weeks of trying to, deal with the customer service, got so fed up. He went into the bank. He said, I want my money now. And he said, they literally laughed at him.
Yeah.
That's what they think of you.
Yeah. I've had those experiences too. I've had accounts frozen. I've had accounts closed. I've had like, why is it so difficult? This is not even a large amount of money. And a lot of people don't realize, I have to remind people of this all the time. If you understand fractional reserve banking, you should go look it up if you don't. For a long time, banks were allowed to loan out $10 for every $1 they had in reserve. Well, when the liquidity hit in 2019, early 2020, amidst all the chaos, they changed that law to 0. Fractional reserve banking now requires banks to hold 0% for every dollar that they lend out. So they can lend out $10 and have nothing in reserve. And a lot of them do that. Now, and they call crypto risky. When we're back 100% backing in crypto, 0% backing in banking. Which one sounds more risky to you? Which one sounds more leveraged? Which one sounds ready for a downturn? Which one sounds like it could collapse really quickly, and it sounds a lot more like a Ponzi than anything that has Bitcoin?
That's why I'm long the penny. Our copper options were up 40% for the past week, and we're up 22% today. I'm going to walk you through this strategy in a little bit, folks. Let's talk about Chainlink here. Chainlink got some good news. The Chainlink reserve has now got up to 88,000 Link just this past week. The total reserve is now 1.6 million Chainlink. And TJ, I saw this number, and I'm like, oh, man, that's just in my mind. It feels like a lot of money. And then I saw it's only $20 million. And then I was like, yeah, Chainlink's like $15, $16.48. So from a dollar amount, it does not look that impressive, but from just a steady accumulation amount, I will say this should have eventually a long-term impact on Chainlink.
Well, yeah,
we did talk about their revenue yesterday. The revenue, they actually is Chainlink Labs charging Chainlink protocol, so they're just a little asterisk on that one there. But I'm still very bullish on Chainlink.
Well, and that just started in August too. That's the other thing that's worth mentioning. So that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. So yeah, that's gonna grow a lot.
Speaking of growing, ETH's dominance is growing. ETH has now reclaimed the lead in network activity as the gas fees stayed low. They've now overtaken all major L2s and daily active addresses. However, myself and other analysts, we are warning about the address poisoning and the dusting attacks are inflating the activities numbers. It's not a may, it's a definite is. Now, Etherscan showing active addresses peaking at 1.3 million earlier in the month before cooling to just under 1 million daily active addresses today. Security researcher did note that part of the increase is linked to dusting and address poisoning attacks. They involve sending tiny transactions from wallet address designed to mimic legitimate ones, increasing the risk users accidentally copy and reuse malicious addresses. Spamming the network has become more economically viable. I walked you through what a dusting attack is earlier in the week, just real quickly. They will find a way by creating like 1 million wallets. They'll find a way to eventually mimic one that you interact with. You spin up enough, you'll find addresses that have the first same 4 digits, like 0x yada yada, and the same bottom 5 or 6 digits or 4 digits where it ends the same. So when you're just looking, you're just like, all right, ends in XYZ, send there. But it was a fake one because the whole middle is totally different. And that's what address poisoning attack is.
Yeah. And speaking of, I posted this the other day, Larry Fink from BlackRock saying we must move more rapidly with crypto tokenization. When you hear the word tokenization, when you hear the word RWA, oftentimes that's Ethereum on a common single blockchain. In my opinion, he's talking about Ethereum. And then I had a lot of people in my comments saying like, why would anybody use something that's slow and expensive? And it's like, I can tell these people in my comments have not used on-chain Ethereum since they bought an overpriced JPEG in 2021. That's when it was very, very slow. But now it's much different scenario. We've got Ethereum transactions at an all-time high, fees at an all-time low, which is what you were just talking about, DZ. This right here is part of what's causing some of those different types of attacks. Is you can actually, it is very efficient to do transactions on Ethereum now, but look at that spike in transactions and look at that drop in fees. So Mega ETH is working. ETH is scaling. It's taken its time. It's learned some stuff along the way. But Ethereum, I can show you many more charts that shows the dominance Ethereum has with RWAs, with stable coins, with tokenization, with on-chain activity, with DeFi. Ethereum is the target for many of these other chains. Solana is trying. There's plenty of other layer ones that are trying to eat at that market share. So far, very little progress. Ethereum does dominate almost every single category. Solana, in my opinion, is the one that's closest to competing with. I wouldn't even really call it competing with, but owning some market share in some of those categories. And yeah, Ethereum to me, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. Maybe you get in some Chainlink and some Tau and some of those other ones, but realistically, as far as big money, smart money is concerned, it's Bitcoin and it's Ethereum. Those are the numbers. Those are the ones that are going to be accumulated by the rich and the powerful.
Interesting you say that. Let's pull up the ETH Bitcoin chart. Speaking of ETH and Bitcoin here. So this is the ETH BTC chart. If you don't know, that's ETH priced in Bitcoin. Each Ethereum is worth this percentage of a Bitcoin. So right now, one ETH is worth 3.29% of a Bitcoin. During times in the past, it's got as high as almost 10%. But there's something I pointed out a while ago, and I just want to kind of walk you through a little update because I saw something with Caleb Franzen's 2 lines here. This is what ETH does when it's priced in Bitcoin. Basically goes into a parallel range, and then it does step 2, step 3, step 4. Step 1, parallel range. Step 2, oversold. I want to say it was on the weekly. Yeah, it's on the weekly here. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about oversold on the RSI. So step 1, go in the parallel range. Step 2, oversold on the RSI. Parallel range, oversold. Parallel range, oversold. Today, parallel range, oversold. Step 3, we leave the range and then we retest. Leave the range, retest. Leave the range, retest. This one just took off like a rocket. I mean, you could zoom in enough. I think like 4 hours, you'll see it, but hit the range, we take off. Step 4, bull run for altcoins. But what am I talking about? What was the thing that I saw with Caleb's charts here? Well, there's maybe a step 5 involving these two. These are basically a 400 simple moving average and a 400 exponential moving average on the daily. If you'll notice, when we leave the range, we actually chop around this. We go above, we go below. We go above, we go below. So it kind of uses this as a support range. I think, this one, you actually even see it there. You see it actually bounces on support there. This is on the daily. So if you go to today, look at its activity with this blue line, we're kind of doing the same thing. So if we are to replicate the last alt season, it's looking pretty similar, in my opinion, TJ.
Yeah. I mean, again, a lot of history, what do they always say? History doesn't do I can't even remember. It rhymes. It doesn't do the same
History
thing.
Doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes.
There you go. Yeah, and we see that a lot. We've seen it with Bitcoin. We've seen it with Ethereum. And so I did see somebody in the show earlier ask, oh, when Bitcoin does all those things, what happens to altcoins? There is a period in time when Bitcoin rallies, like say Bitcoin rallies to 105, especially if it gets near all-time highs again, say it rallies all the way up to 125, 130, something like that, and then it rests there for a while, and then altcoins will violently close that gap, Ethereum being one of those. And that's that period that DZ was just pointing out right there. Those straight up lines on Ethereum is when Bitcoin rallies and then Ethereum just shoots through the moon on that ratio. And then Bitcoin would say rallies to 185 and then Ethereum goes like crazy. And that's when you'll see it get to those $6,000 Ethereum, $7,000 Ethereum. But that time frame, generally speaking, is pretty short. A couple months, if that, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. And so that's when you want to be prepared. That's when you want to be positioned for. And a lot of people get in trouble getting into altcoins too early and holding on. You're going to ride those altcoins all the way down. And then you just, if you bought Ethereum at 4,500, you don't get you should, but you don't get too excited about a $6,000 Ethereum because you're like, wow, I'm just above break even. If you're buying Ethereum at 2,800, and you're seeing a $6,000, $7,000 Ethereum, it feels great. So there's, your entries do matter. But the thing that matters most in crypto is time in the market. You've heard us say it before. Time in the market beats timing the market. I know plenty of people that basically they bought in 2017 and they still haven't ever sold. They bought Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what you bought. You got well, it matters a little bit, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, early Solana when it came out in 19. Some of those other ones. I mean, if you're still, I think Solana, the first time I bought Solana, it was $5. Do I care if it's at 150 or 250? Sure, I care, but I'm not freaking out about, I need to sell, to pay my credit card bills or anything like that. And so your entries matter, but the longer you hold, the longer you're in the market, the better time you're going to have. So very few people that I know that have held for more than 5 years that haven't had a significant at least change in their current financial situation from when they first entered crypto. So
yeah, we know someone that had crypto definitely changed their life situation, TJ. Let's talk about Layer Zero here. Layer Zero and Axie Infinity surging despite a flat crypto market. Why are these things pumping? Well, Layer Zero, they have a big event February 10th. A lot of people maybe front running some news from that event, or maybe it's actually something bearish. Why? Could be tied to the major supply unlock. Oftentimes when a smaller altcoin has a team stash of tokens about to hit, it's about to hit their wallet, you'll see the crypto pump. Now, about 25 million, about 6% of the circulating supply were unlocked earlier this week, as well as a $100 million transfer to Custodian BitGo. Also, they have an integration with Starknet. It's going to connect it to a whole bunch of different altcoins. Axie Infinity, this is coming after they shifted their tokenomics. The developer replaced tradable Axie rewards with B-Axie, a non-transferable bonded version of the token. It's aimed at cutting down bot activity, short-term farming, which has created constant selling pressure. Looking at the Zero chart, TJ, I see a cup and handle, or a cup. We don't have the handle yet. So this is a bullish chart here. I am liking what I'm seeing here. I'm probably going to take some profits on Zcash. I am up on Zcash. I don't know my exact entry point there. We did, I think, maybe buy after it dipped to lower average entry. I'm
Wait,
not up a
Zcash
whole
or
lot.
layers? You're talking about layer zero, right?
Layer zero. Sorry, the zeros are throwing me off there. The Z's got me. But yeah, Zero. I am up on Zero. Probably going to take some Zero profits. So just want to give you a warning there. Axie. Let's see here. This will. Whoo! Look at that daily chart, TJ. That one does look very, very bullish. A lot of people are like, man, you're bearish on it. You're bearish on it. Well, yeah, let me tell you why. Yeah, because people were down. I'm not even coming from the wick. People were down 97%. But well, I'm not done. Now you're down 98%. But I'm not done. Now you're down 99.5%. So yes, I have been bearish.
Well,
and
I would caution you that is pumping up right there to that resistance. So if it gets rejected off of that level,
yeah, it's going to be 99.7% and then 99.9%. But if you're up, go ahead, take those profits. Get out of that thing. Get out of that thing. Now, last article, I did tease the XRP. Yesterday, we kind of poked fun that this crazy bullish XRP article got me so excited. It's like, this is what's going to take XRP to the next level. Click on the article. It's Aquarius and Mars and some sort of planet alignment. It just gave me a migraine. Then I saw this one. I'm like, all right, now we're getting serious. BNY Mellon CEO, this is America's oldest bank. He's talking to CNBC. This is sparking excitement for XRP. Finally, we got something. And then I looked, and it's one quote. We're bullish on digital assets.
Hey, you got to love the excitement of the XRP army, right? They don't need much. If you say digital assets, they know that means XRP. They know. They know. And that same thing when I said Larry Fink was talking about Ethereum, they all told me, no, he was talking about XRP. And so,
yeah, Chainlink too. We talked about Chainlink. It's, doing something with Swift. We're like, oh, no. XRP is actually going to be the one, landing all these deals. But yeah, just said we're excited about digital assets at Davos. And so people are getting very, very, very excited for XRP.
Yeah, Jack Mahler's pretty upset. He put a video out saying that Ripple is actively spending millions of dollars to undermine a Bitcoin strategic reserve for the United States because they don't, digital assets encompasses a lot of things. That's why the politicians say that, because it's a very safe thing for them to say without putting any weight in any one direction. XRP holders will spin this article and saying, this is XRP flipping Bitcoin. Here's why. There you go. I saw somebody in the chat earlier not happy with Jake Claver. I don't know why or what was going on, but
he's very bullish on XRP. And, he famously said Bitcoin wasn't going to pass, I think, 75K. But,
yeah.
Hey, we all have predictions, so he's putting his out there. He's putting it out on the line. And I will say he dresses very nicely, better than me on Casual Friday. So I'm going to give him that. Yes, I'm wearing my monkey JPEG. This is just a constant reminder for me to take profits, folks.
Yeah.
This could be my reminder for you. Take profits, hit that like button. Remember, the banks are the enemy. Crypto is the savior. It's going to be Bitcoin and your favorite altcoin, of course, that is going to take you to the promised land. And I'm going to be doing the member stream right after this. Maybe give me about 90 seconds or so, get everything lined up. But for me and TJ, Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm, stock up, be careful, avoid the roads, hit the like button on the way out, and we'll see you folks in the future.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.